Services Communications presents the show that's helping people see better and feel better all over Florida. It's Ask the Doctor with board-certified optometric physician, certified nutritional specialist, and popular radio host, Dr. Michael Lange of Lange Eye Care and Associates.
Doctor, my eyes, they cannot see the sky. Is this the price for having learned how not to cry?
Okay, good morning, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Lange of the Lange Eye Institute and Fortify Vitamins, here each and every Saturday morning live to answer any and all questions you have regarding your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic. So pick up the phones and give me a call. I've been hosting Ask the Doctor on, multiple radio stations throughout the country since, April of 1993. Time flies when you're having fun. I used to have a drive time show here on this station, News Talk 820, back in the day, every day, even on Sunday. Sunday was 1 to 2, but every day from 9 to 10, Monday through Saturday. All right, if you want to watch me, you can actually watch me on News Talk Florida, Facebook, News Talk Florida, Facebook, and you can actually watch and listen. Phone lines are 866-977-4820. Remember, no matter how simple or complicated your question is, as long as it's a nutritionally related topic or an eye question, I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. I'm a certified nutritional specialist as well as an optometric physician. Founded Lange Eye Care and Associates, the Lange Eye Institute, Fortify Vitamins, also Blue Light Defense, and now working very closely with Paleo Simplified. We're going to talk about something in just a minute, the Paleo Simplified Honey Nut Fruit Crunch, why it's chewy and not crunchy. There's a reason for my madness, right? So we're going to talk about why it's not truly crunch. Maybe we should call it Honey Nut Fruit Chew instead of crunch, but it actually increases antioxidant profile. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But first thing, we're going to take some calls. Well, what about that stock market? Oh, my God, the last Monday was crazy. All right, but it will go up. Let's go back to the phones. Steve in Bradenton, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How we doing?
I'm hanging in there. Tell me what's going on with you today.
Well, the reason I can't see, apparently, the doctor tells me I have a thick retina. And he's been giving me he was giving me Avastin shots, which was okay. The last 2 shots, he switched over to the Eylea.
Right.
And it's just almost blinded me. I'm down to where I'm like 2,400 now from 2080. And he says, well, the reason you can't see is because you get a thick retina. My 2 questions is, have you ever seen Eylea go backwards and hurt people before? And the other one is there any other way to treat the thick retina other than injections?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, the average thickness of the retina, if I recall, is anywhere from 255 to 360 microns in thickness, and so anything above that would be edematous, swollen, or thick. And many diseases like diabetes, macular degeneration, vein occlusions, all these things can cause thickness of the center retina, the macula, or swollen retina. And currently, some of the drugs that we use are Eylea, Avastin, Lucentis, and then some other new generation medications. And with these disease entities, of course, I see it all the time, people that progressively get worse. By the same token, I mean, this is the best treatment we have today. That combined with proper nutrition, the right supplements, I also see people on a daily basis improve and get better. And I do see people that get worse, and continuously get worse, then all of a sudden start to get better. So, don't give up hope because you could turn the corner. I mean, you're doing everything, Stephen, that you can do. I mean, you've been listening to this show for a while. You've lost the weight. You're on the right diet. You're on the right supplements. You got a great group of doctors. I mean, you're doing everything possible. All I can say is keep the faith.
The thickness on the microns was 490.
Right. So that's definitely thicker than average, but I see them much thicker than that. So 490 is still not as thick as we see, routinely in clinical practice. So
So the Eylea, that you believe in that? It's never really caused damage before that you've seen?
Well, no, I see. I mean, is it actually the injection that causes damage or the disease entity? So certainly, I mean, people can have reactions to injections. That can happen. I mean, people can have an endophthalmitis, an inflammatory response, all sorts of things from anything that's injected into the eye. But once again, in the hands of a competent retina specialist that's done a lot of these, that minimizes the potential problem. And Eylea is a great drug. It works. If you wouldn't have been having these injections, I don't want to sound negative, but if you would have gone back, 10, 15 years ago, you would have been blind, totally blind, no light perception, probably a long time ago. So, it's been preserving your vision, and it's obviously not the miracle cure that you want. But let me tell you, we're in this technological snowball, Steve, and it's rolling, 20 years into the future every year. So it's not a little BB anymore. So we're going to have something that's going to help you. Trust me. It's just a matter of time. You're still a young man. If I recall, you're in your 60s, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, you're still young. So we're going to have something. Trust me.
Okay, this seemed like after the Eylea shots is when I had the vision problems. Before that I was 20/80.
Yeah. Well, Eylea versus Avastin is a very similar drug, and the side effects are all very similar. With Eylea, ultimately, and Lucentis, these drugs, you might be able to inject them a little bit less frequently, and that's why they go to them. They're a lot more expensive. But, the least amount of injections that get the job done is what I always say.
Now, I'm almost afraid to let him give me another shot. Geez, one more and I'll probably be done for, you know?
I would talk to him. Just talk to the retina specialist. Sit down and talk with him, and y'all figure it out together. All right?
How's your car running, all right?
It's in the speed shop right now. We've taken about 200 pounds out of it. I mean, the side windows, the airbags, the radio that was in it, the air conditioning system, all the carpet. I mean, we stripped this thing down to bare bones and a straight pipe. So we're not going to have anything muffling the sound or the power. So this Saturday, I'll be racing at Sebring. We'll see what happens. I've calculated due to the physics and all, the weight savings and the power. Without me being any faster, any better, I should get 2 seconds faster on the track. So we'll see how true that is.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So thanks for asking, Steve.
All right, yeah, you tell the average person 2 seconds, and it doesn't sound like much, but since I used to race a little bit, I know that's a ton.
Right, 2 seconds a lap adds up after 30 minutes, or an enduro race after 2 hours. That's a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of car lengths, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you,
Steve,
Doctor.
hang
I
in there.
appreciate you being there.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And hang in there, buddy. All right, phone lines are open, 1-866-977-4820, 1-866-977-4820. We're broadcasting in just about the entire state of Florida this morning, as well as up in the Panhandle and certainly South Georgia over to Alabama. And actually, people can pick me up in the Gulf Coast over in Biloxi as well, believe it or not. All right, let's go back to the phones. Bob in Ocala. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Dr. Lange. It's good to talk to you on Saturday morning.
It certainly is.
Yes, it is. I hope next week refills your endorphin bucket. I hope you have a good time and a safe time, young man.
So next week we'll be running a tape. So anybody's got questions, this is live today. This is the day after the Saturday after the crazy stock market. So this is a live show.
All righty. A couple of weeks ago, Dr. Lange, you had a radio calling Dr. Host. And my question that day was referencing cholesterol and oats.
Mm-hmm.
I know after listening to that program, you're not a big fan of oats, but the doctor that was on with you suggested, along with other things, time-released niacin
mm-hmm.
as being a potential way to help control cholesterol. Does Douglas Laboratories or anybody else that has supplements in your warehouse offer time-release niacin?
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. All right, so niacin is a way to bring the cholesterol down, nicotinic acid, and it's a natural way to bring the cholesterol down. It can make the HDL go up, the LDL go down a little bit. The absolute best way to lower your cholesterol with niacin is the immediate release niacin. It's the least expensive. It's the most effective. However, a big however, it can cause a lot of flushing, all right? And you take it 2 to 3 times a day. Flushing, it makes you red, all right? We used to play tricks on, when I was in school, we used to, give niacin to our friends, and they would get really red, and they'd think, oh, my God, I must have gotten sunburned today, or I'm having a stroke. And it only lasts about 10 minutes. It was kind of funny, and it comes on pretty quickly. So the immediate release niacin that you buy is inexpensive, and it's the most effective at helping control cholesterol. Now, there is the sustained release or extended release. It definitely causes less flushing. However, some of these over-the-counter preparations are definitely less effective than the immediate release, and there is some evidence that the extended release may, if you use high dosages for long period of times in certain individuals, have liver toxicity. So, yeah, that's a problem. I mean, Niaspan is probably the most famous one out there. A lot of doctors are prescribing this, and it works, and it doesn't cause the flush. So people that have problems flushing and they don't want that flush, they can go to the time release, the extended release, and there's a lot of companies that sell it over the counter now. Now, there's another one you'll look at and you'll think, oh, no flush niacin, right? And so it's a different molecule, and it has none of what we call free nicotinic acid in it, and it's essentially a waste of money, all right? It doesn't lower your cholesterol. Even though the label may say supports healthy cholesterol or something like that, it doesn't work. So the no-flush niacin, stay away from it. The immediate-release niacin is the best. Everybody's not going to flush from it. And what I would do is just take a little bit of it, half of the amount that you would probably take. Start out very low. If it says, the dosage is 50 milligrams, break it in half. Maybe break it in a quarter. Take it with food. If you don't flush, then, take the full amount the next time. Just be prepared to flush. And try the immediate release first. If your wife or whoever's going to take it is getting a lot of this flushing and she doesn't like that, then go to the sustained release and fortify vitamins. We can probably get that if we do not have that at the Nutrition Center in Ocala. I know we do have some niacin. We used to, but if we don't, we can get it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to the folks at the warehouse and see if we can pick some up.
All right. And then obviously the other things for helping cholesterol is obviously the right diet, exercise, a little sunshine for the vitamin D. Believe it or not, drinking coconut water can bring it down. Coconut water, a couple of cups a day. Low saturated fat diet, but cardiovascular exercise helps bring the HDL up, the LDL down. Lots of fruits and vegetables, omega-3, which you're the king of. All of these things. Fortify Focus, all right, which you're probably taking because there's definitely evidence that astaxanthin at 6 milligrams, which is in our Fortify Focus supplement, can indeed lower cholesterol. It actually raises HDL and lowers LDL. And so the combination of the Fortify Super Omega and the Fortify Focus is kind of a double whammy against cholesterol. Now, if you're going to eat oatmeal, steel cut organic oats, I'm not a huge fan of oats because most people when they eat oatmeal are going to have some fruits and vegetables or whatever with it. Remember, oats has a special type of gelatin type of fiber in it that blocks the absorption of antioxidants. So don't take your vitamins when you eat a cup of oatmeal. Don't eat vegetables and fruits with it. Just have your oatmeal by itself and don't have anything else, either 2.5 hours on either side of the oatmeal, and you'll be fine.
Oh, my. Well, you blew a lot of holes. You blew, all right. Well, that's good to know. Good information. Well, quite honestly, after finishing a box of Cheerios, I discovered that I didn't remember it being taste the way that it does now. So I kind of emptied the box, and that was the end of that. So,
all right, big guy.
And I've been on the double Fortify Focus since you had your two ladies on a month or so ago.
Good. Absolutely. I've been doubling up on a lot of our patients as well, especially patients with macular edema. So if Steve is listening, swollen retinas, we're doubling the Fortify Focus 2 per day and getting some interesting positive results. All right, Bob.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a safe trip next week.
All right. Thanks for the call. Bye-bye. All right. Lifestyle changes are one of the best things for cholesterol. Most of you hear me talk about cholesterol. I don't love drugs. I don't love drugs for cholesterol. I really don't. But sometimes people have to get medical treatment if their cholesterol is really high. Their triglycerides are high. Their C-reactive protein is high. But most of this can be helped and controlled naturally if the patient will do those things. But most doctors realize the truth, and a lot of patients, you can tell them what to do, and they just ain't going to do it. All right, let's go back to the phones. And you can learn more at drmichaellange.com, just drmichaellange.com, langeyecare.com. Certainly follow me on any of the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram, Pinterest, any of those. If you go to drmichaellange.com, you can go to the social media section and you can click on one of those and follow me. I also oftentimes give you some really cool quick codes so you get major discounts on the Fortify vitamins. Also, since it is, Heart Awareness Month, remember, omega-3, very important for the heart health. Our Fortify Super Omega, 2 per day dosing. Everybody in the study that we did, an omega index study, everybody that weighed less than 250 pounds at 2 per day dosing of our Fortify Super Omega, their omega index went between 9 and 11.2%. You have to be over 8 to get the heart health benefits. There isn't anything over the counter at 2 per day that can claim that. There are some other brands on the market that you can't buy over the counter that can claim that, but over the counter there is not an omega-3 fish oil that can claim 2 per day dosing is going to bring your omega index in 100% of patients less than 250 pounds to a zone between 9 and 11%. So omega-3 is very important for heart health. There's a little trick to the trade. At bedtime, as long as it's okay with your physician, you don't have a bleeding problem, you can take a half a baby aspirin at bedtime with your omega-3 fish oil. If you're a big person, a baby aspirin with your fish oil at bedtime. The baby aspirin potentiates something called resolvins and protectins in the omega-3, which actually helps protect you from inflammatory responses in your blood vessels, helps decrease the chance of a fatal heart attack or stroke early in the morning hours. All right, what you learn here from the eye doctor. All right, we're going back to the phones. I think number 3 or number 1. Aha. Let's go for Eric first. Eric in Morriston, good morning.
Good morning, Doc. It's great to speak to you. I got 2 questions for you today. We listened to you very attentively over the last few weeks, and I know some of the programs are taped and so forth. Mm-hmm. It's great to have you live today. I heard you say something to the effect that the Hemocode test told you that the peppers, that you couldn't eat peppers. Could you elaborate on that?
Right. So I did the Hemocode test, and a few things came back, peppers being one of them, tomatoes being another one, pork. Believe it or not, I used to eat a lot of eggs. Eggs came back. Certain things came back showing that I had these IgG antibodies to them, which basically means that these specific foods just don't really agree harmoniously in my body, potentially creating inflammation and oxidation in my body. So what Hemocode does, it kind of fine-tunes your diet. It looks at these foods and tells which foods you have sensitivities to, and it scales it basically. It shows if you have low sensitivity, medium sensitivity, or really high sensitivities. If you have high sensitivities to these foods, then you need to leave them out of your diet for an entire year. Medium sensitivities, you leave it out 6 months. Low sensitivities, you leave it out for 3 months. And, I always think I'm in pretty good shape. I mean, I always tell people I'm almost at 100% of my game, 98%.
I heard you say 110% not too long ago.
And now, since I've adjusted my diet, I've taken all pork out. Let me tell you, I used to like to eat bacon and sausage with my eggs in the morning, low-carb diet. I'd throw some spinach in there. Well, that was my typical diet, eggs and some pork. Well, since I've adjusted that diet, I mean, now sometimes I have fish or I have chicken or even a lean steak. for breakfast with broccoli or chicken. You know, this morning I had honey nut. I didn't have much time, so I had the paleo simplified honey nut fruit crunch, and I had some A2 cow's milk on it, and I wolfed it down in the car when I was driving over here. So,
we do know that you are what you eat.
That's exactly right. So I do feel 110% now. I mean, I feel amazing. I'm 56 years old. I really feel good. And, you know, it wouldn't be the placebo effect, I think, for me, because I'm fairly intelligent when it comes to nutrition and just adjusting these things. I've tried all sorts of different, diets. I'm big into the paleo diet, hunter-gatherer diet. But then to be able to fine tune that paleo diet and take just some specific foods out. Like I said, my typical meal in the morning was eggs, some sausage, and I'd chop up spinach, kale, and orange and green bell peppers and throw them in there. Well, the eggs, the pork, and the bell peppers, and I'd have that almost every day. Well, I've eliminated that, and, I'm feeling pretty good.
I have one more important question for you, Doc, and it has to do with Fortify vitamins. You have a wide range of products there, and it's a little bit confusing for, at least for me.
Sure.
Like which ones I should be taking. So I'm going to ask you a direct question. What do you personally take out of these products every day? Which products do you use and what amount?
All right, so I weigh about 195 pounds, so you kind of gauge by your weight. So I take Fortify Complete. That's 2 tablets a day. If you weigh about 150, 160 or less, you just take the Fortify Complete once daily, okay? If you weigh, say, 250 or above, then I would go to the Macular Defense. Even though you don't have macular degeneration, but that's 3 per day. So based on your weight, you can either take 1, 2, or 3 a day. Now, the Fortify Macular Defense is the same exact formula as the Complete once daily. It's just packaged 90. So it's packaged 30, 60, and 90. So you get a pretty good deal when you just buy 90 at a time, and you can take 1 a day. How much do you weigh?
220.
Yeah, I would do the Complete that I'm doing. That's 2 a day. So I take 2 a day of that. I take 1 Focus. Although before I race, which is almost every weekend now, I take 2 a day for the week before. If you're going to do any sporting event, athletic event, you're going to run a 5K or an Ironman, then take 2 a day 3 weeks before that. But at least 1 Fortify Focus. On your weight, I would take 2 omega-3s, 1 when you wake up in the morning and 1 right at bedtime. And that's kind of the triple whammy I call of anti-aging. Then depending on your digestive system, if you have a lot of bloating and acid reflux and you're burping a lot, then, I would probably add the probiotics, the Fortify probiotics, and I would take 3 a day on an empty stomach. So all 3 first thing when you wake up, or all 3 at bedtime, or you can take 2 at bedtime, 1 in the morning. And the probiotics do help. And then finally, after I work out, which is almost every day now, I always take the Fortify Super Protein, A2 chocolate milk, 2 cups, and watermelon, a wedge of watermelon. I blend it all together, and I try to drink it within a half hour, 1 minute to a half hour after working out or riding my bike or anything like that for post-recovery. So I try to utilize all the things in the Fortify. Now, a lot of times I would take a scoop of the superfood because some days I'm backed up with patients. I don't get lunch. So what I do, it takes me 15 seconds, take a scoop of the protein, a scoop of the superfood, put it in water, shake it up, and I drink it down in, literally 15 seconds. I just had a meal because typically I run behind with patients. So that's better than me than going and getting, some kind of fast food burger.
Doc, that you said a whole bunch. I wrote it all down. It's the greatest. I'm calling up your girl over there at Fortify, and I'm going to order it all up. Thank you
all right,
so
Eric.
much.
Good luck. Keep me posted, brother.
Roger that. Thanks,
all right.
Doc.
Bye-bye. We get a lot of great listeners, a lot of great patients listening, a lot of great listeners, throughout the state that have not been patients, but I think they've benefited. A lot of them have benefited significantly. You can always email me directly at idude92@icloud.com. Don't email me at AOL anymore. Something's up with AOL. Every week they tell me to change my passcode, and I've run out of passcodes. So idude92@icloud.com. That's EYEDUDE92@icloud.com. Or if you go to Ask the Doctor on Fortify website or Dr. Michael Lange, it comes directly to my email. All right, let's see. I think Steve's been waiting patiently. Let's see. Steve, thanks for holding.
Yes. I wanted to tell you there's one thing that is a negative about niacin, and that is it will increase your homocysteine level. And that's the mechanism behind that is that it eats up mental groups. That's why it's good for schizophrenia. It prevents too much dopamine from being made and stuff. But if you eat just some eggs or some beets or something, it pretty much negates that. But the question I really wanted to ask was, you're talking about these food allergies.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a stupid question but if you're digesting your food completely and you're proteolytically breaking down proteins into single amino acids, then there wouldn't be any of those proteins from those plants or animal products going into your bloodstream, would there? They'd be all broken down to individual amino acids. So how could you get an allergy from a food? I obviously people do, but
I wish was that Dr. Michael Joseph. As a matter of fact, if he's listening, I'm going to ask him to be a guest on this show again very, very soon. Obviously, won't be next week because I'll be racing, but he's the expert in that. And you can always send them an email at hemocode.com. I mean, that's a very good question, and
if
you're very intelligent to ask that.
The
right.
enzyme tablets, to see if you could lower the titers from the reaction.
But people definitely, Steve, have reactions to food. I mean, they have IgE and IgG mediated, so immediate and then non-immediate reactions to food. And I definitely know people when they get on an adjusted diet, their headaches, their migraines, their irritable bowel, their bloating, their stomach aches, hives and dry spots all improve. Remember, we are what we eat. And so everybody can't eat the same things. My daughter, she eats soy. She breaks out in hives very quickly. If I eat shrimp, I die, okay? So I try not to eat many shrimp.
You have to carry one of those pens with you?
I used to. I carried an EpiPen everywhere I went for the first 2 years after having a reaction. It's kind of funny, Steve. I grew up in New Orleans. And so, all of us coon asses, we eat a lot of shrimp, a lot of crawfish, a lot of crabs. I grew up on shrimp. And then one night, 8 years ago, I cooked sauteed some shrimp in the house one night, and I started feeling really weird, and I couldn't swallow good. So I ate about 4 aspirin, and I went to bed, and I was okay. A week later, my wife sauteed some shrimp, and it hit me much quicker. And I said, look, we got to go to the hospital immediately. So we got in the car and sped through all the lights, and I got there, and they hit me with some prednisone. Believe it or not, they didn't give me an EpiPen, and because it was the second time, they said the third time, boom, you might not make it to the emergency room. So I carried an EpiPen everywhere I went. And then I got to tell you, Steve, I don't eat out much anymore because everywhere I go, they'll cook. If say you go to a Japanese steakhouse where they're gonna saute everything with the shrimp and the steak all in the same pan, and so you got to be very careful.
Chaos, there's a saying: there's no chairs in the kitchen because it's constant chaos. And even if they try to keep things separate, things just happen.
And then, me with my paranoia, I don't even want to go into the restaurant and say, look, I got a severe shrimp allergy, and tell the people in the kitchen. They might think, these kids might not realize how serious it is and say, oh, heck, he's got a shrimp allergy. Just throw a little shrimp in there, let's see what happens. And so I eat at home a lot. I cook a lot at home. I'm like a little chef now. And I prepare things that have no shrimp, no shrimp sauce, actually no shellfish. I can eat fish, but I'm paranoid. I don't eat crawfish. I don't eat lobster. I don't eat crab. I don't eat any shellfish just because I'd probably, I'd like to eat crab again. So maybe I'm going to go and sit in front of the emergency room and have a little crab meal parked right in front of the emergency room and see what happens.
Well, one thing might make you even more sensitive to it is that since you have a lot of antioxidants in your diet because you take supplements, the epinephrine oxidizes down very quickly. But people who take vitamin C, the length of time, I think that you might actually, you'd actually probably benefit from it. I don't know. It goes one way or the other.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because there's only 2 things I have reactions to. That's shrimp and then anything with epinephrine, phenylephrine, neosynephrine. The first time I ever got dilated in school, they use a concoction where they put proparacaine in your eye, tropicamide, and then they add something called phenylephrine. Well, I was okay with the first 2 drops. When the phenylephrine hit me, instantly. My heart rate went tachycardia, went to 200. And, they took me across the street to the emergency room and gave me something to slow it down. They said, don't ever have any phenylephrine, neosynephrine, epinephrine ever again. And so I've never had that. And I notice every now and then I touch somebody, I get a dilation drop and barely get a little bit on my skin even. And then maybe had touched my eye, I got a tiny bit of my eye, boom, tachycardia immediately. So anything epinephrine derivative, it's not good for me.
Maybe you can use that information, develop some kind of a new nerve gas or something.
Yeah, I got to think about that. Shrimp allergies,
I'm still working on those trials, those radio trials.
Right,
the only problem I'm having with them is to structure them properly. You can't hear what there's being told to the people in the audience. So I don't know, because you're going to have to judge the results after they do these things. So I don't know how I'm going to structure it so that you can be a objective judge. But maybe someone else will have to give them the information. Maybe another doctor or something. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, I look forward to that.
We'll have fun when we do it.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, you're listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Lange. 1-866-977-4820. I do want to mention in the beginning of the show, I was going to talk briefly about Honey Nut Crunch. Before we take the next call, I just want to talk about this. Honey Nut Fruit Crunch is made by Paleo Simplified, and what we do with this is actually, it's a little bit different. We maybe shouldn't call it crunch, because we had somebody comment on Amazon about this that purchased it. So most people that make a granola actually take it and they put everything in it, and then they heat it up and they bake it with everything in it, with the fruits, everything all. They bake it. So what that does, the antioxidants in the fruits actually go down when you heat them up at these high levels. So what we do, we take the pumpkin seeds, the sunflower seeds, the almonds, the almond flour, the ground flax, the kosher sea salt, all of that, and we actually bake it. Then we add the bananas and we add the cranberries afterwards. So that has some moisture to it. That moisture leaks through it and makes it chewy, not crunchy. So it's really not Honey Nut Fruit Crunch. It should be Honey Nut Fruit Chew. But it actually gives you a much higher antioxidant level. The bananas, we've done it both ways. We used to use banana chips that are crunchy. But what we've done, we've actually taken the banana, we soak it in organic coconut oil to get the medium chain triglycerides, and the lauric acid has amazing health benefits. The cinnamon to get amazing antioxidant benefits, improve blood flow and lower blood sugar. And the honey, which also has a lot of antioxidant and a lot of digestive benefits. So we have, this time, the bananas are kind of chewy because we soak them in those three components. So it's all about health. Remember, you are what you eat. I try to make a paleo crunch that is actually very good for you, but it doesn't please everybody. So we're taking that under advisement, and maybe I'm going to come out with one that's more crunchy. All right. So we try to please everybody. I'm thinking of a Cajun crunch too that has a little kick to it. So once again, the Honey Nut Fruit Crunch, I'd say 95% of everybody loves it. I'm giving you a code, and this code is good for another month to get 45% off, so you can try it. You can get it on Amazon with that deal. You can buy it at paleosimplified.com, fortify.com, Lange Eye Institute. You could go into Fortify Vitamins in Ocala on 17th Street, and the code is CRUNCH. So you get 45% off if you go and put the code CRUNCH at checkout at paleosimplified.com or fortify.com. Get 45% off. You can use this for breakfast. You can use it on a topping on salads, on yogurt. Eat it as a snack in between patients or at work. It has low glycemic index, very low sugar, low carbs, almost no salt, a little kosher sea salt, but it tastes good and it's good for you. It's called Honey Nut Fruit Crunch, Paleo Simplified. All right, we're going back to the phones. Lee in Gainesville, good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling about high iron levels. My husband had his yearly checkup, and the maximum should be 380, and his is 750.
Yeah, that's called hemochromatosis.
He went and donated some blood, and no more iron frying pans or red meat for him. We're going to look into see if it's genetic or environmental. We're still working on that. Just wanted to see what you thought about it.
Yeah, a genetic, are they actually doing any DNA testing to see if it's genetic?
We're going to have that done. Have not done that yet.
Yeah, so many European descents will have what we call hematochromatosis, whatever you pronounce on that. Obviously, eating foods that are rich in iron, he needs to stay away from all of that. There is some evidence that the tannins that are actually found in tea and coffee, all right, not green tea, dark tea and coffee, can actually absorb the iron, all right? And then also, this is where eggs come into play. Believe it or not, eggs, if I recall, has something in it that helps absorb the iron as well.
Yes, we found that out.
All right, so, obviously eating things that are low, more fruits, vegetables, things like that. Definitely red meat, no calf liver at all. I mean, it's one of the best ways when you're just the opposite. When you're anemic, whether it's pernicious anemia or regular anemia, calf liver is one of the best things in the world because it's very high in B12 and very high in iron. And obviously, I would just follow your doctor's advice and find out what's going on. Yeah, I agree, the iron pads. That's interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, it could be a combination of what he's been consuming, the environment he's been in, and his genetics. But I would drink some coffee, some black tea, and eat some eggs, and follow your doctor's advice on that. And then keep me posted of what you do and how his iron levels come down.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Yeah, excess iron is not good because it settles in vital organs and can cause all sorts of things, from arthritis, diabetes, cirrhosis of the liver, all sorts of things, to eventually you can die from that stuff. So in Gainesville, a lot of great doctors up in Gainesville, so she's in good hands. All right, or he is. 866-977-4820. Let's go back to the phones. John in Clearwater, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I was calling. I had an eye infection, a real bad one, where my head was all swollen up, and it was a viral eye infection. And I went into the doctor. We didn't, he examined me and he gave me antibiotics, and I took them for a week, and it didn't do any good. He decided it was a bacterial infection after that, because I had eye adhesions that night, and like 3 times a night. They were real painful, and I guess it was like tearing your skin off your eye when you woke up or whatever. But he also, at the time, offered me prednisone. And I said, what good is that going to do? He says, well, it'll comfort you and less swelling, because my whole head and face was swollen up really bad. And I think I heard you mention something that if you have a bacterial infection and you take prednisone, there could be a complication if you do that.
Right. Well, prednisone can cause compromised immune system. And yes, any steroid can actually aggravate a bacteria. That's exactly right. So you have to look at the benefits, the risk benefits, okay? So obviously, if you can't breathe, if you're so inflamed, you're miserable, then, an oral steroid may be very beneficial. But if they're doing it just to try to comfort you a little bit because you're, whining a little bit, I sure as heck wouldn't take it, all right? But prednisone can be a miracle drug. I mean, arthritics, it can enable them to walk. Asthmatics, it enables them to breathe. I mean, if you have an allergic reaction, it keeps you from dying. So, prednisone has amazing benefits, but I'm a big advocate of the least amount of medication that gets the job done. Now, was this an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist that saw you, an optometrist?
Ophthalmologist,
right?
And then I think you also went on to say that they have some sort of piece of equipment to look at the eye, and you can determine whether it's a viral or a bacterial infection. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I mean, it's pretty rare, believe it or not. Bacterial infections in the eye, I mean, in kids it's very prominent, but in adults, viral is much more common. Viral, your eye gets very red, okay? It's very red. It's light sensitive. It can get swollen. It can ache, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Bacterial is going to have a green discharge coming out. Thick, matted, smelly, green, brown discharge all over your lids. And a lot of times, bacterial infections can run hand in hand, believe it or not, with STDs. So if people get, gonorrhea and chlamydia, they get it in the eye, they get it down there, they get it up there too. So it's not that you can't get a bacterial infection, but if you don't have this thick green-brown discharge coming out, if it's just red, watery, achy, and real red, right now, at this time of year between Thanksgiving and about the end of February, viruses are just crazy. And, we do use steroid for viruses. So topical steroids and oral steroids in advanced cases to help cut inflammation. So I would follow your doctor's recommendation. I would lubricate the heck out of your eye using something like...
I'm over it now.
Okay, good. Good.
It lasted 6 months.
Wow, that was a long one.
I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. I started putting that Sovereign Silver in my eyes right off the bat for 2 days before I went in to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, don't do that," but it was working. And he gave me these antibiotics, and I haven't been sick for 40 years, but since I took those antibiotics, I caught that cough that's going around too. And I attribute that. I really tried to rebalance my immune system or my gut, for the...
Oh, yeah. There's been some terrible upper respiratory things going around. And then if you hit it with an antibiotic, as you well know, it can destroy your gut flora. So you got to take probiotics, eat fermented foods. Last week I talked a lot about my kind of miracle cure for the flu. I'm going to briefly tell everybody again.
Oh.
It's so you take 2 cups of organic green tea, all right? You take Manuka honey. It's got to be Manuka honey with the highest MGO number you can buy over the counter. So like a number 20 versus a number 13. So a tablespoon of Manuka honey, a tablespoon of organic coconut oil, all right? And then a whey protein concentrate, not an isolate, that is from grass-fed cows, preferably New Zealand, where we have like the only one, the Fortify Super Protein. So basically take a scoop of Fortify Super Protein, a tablespoon of organic coconut oil, a tablespoon of Manuka honey, 2 cups of warm or hot tea, green tea, organic green tea, fuse it all together, mix it all in until it's all homogeneous, and then drink it down. And during the flu, you drink 3 a day. If you want to do it preventatively during the flu season, just drink 1 a day. You can also add vitamin C, about 250 to even 500 milligrams every 2 hours during waking hours. Take a couple of showers a day with good soap. Change your pillowcases and your sheets every night, for 5 days when you have the flu. Open up the windows, air out the house, and get some sunshine, believe it or not. The vitamin D from the sun, half-hour sun a day with no sunscreen. And literally, my case of the flu, I can get a nasty case. Everybody in my family has it for 7, 8, 9 days. I have it for 24 hours, and it's gone when I do this.
That sounds good. Yeah. If that works, they ought to put that in the newspaper or something.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, John. Bye-bye. All right, you listen to Ask the Doctor, 1-866-977-4820, 1-866-977-4820. For those of you that want to lose weight safely, you can Google Lange Diet or Lange Diet Plan and just read. I've got actually a week of meal plans, 3 meals a day with 2 snacks, and it has some supplements that I've developed in it, but you can still lose weight without those supplements, where it talks about the whey protein and the superfood. You could buy something over the counter that's similar, and so you don't have to use our supplements, although I've done years and years and years and years of research. I take these supplements, so I'm not going to make anything that's going to harm me or my family. I'm a perfectionist. Actually, like the Fortify Complete Multivitamin, I've changed 14 times in the last 8-9 years. So not making money, I change it so much, probably losing money, but it's helping a lot of people. All right, let's go to the phones. George has been waiting patiently. George, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, doctor.
What can I do for you?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I have a question to ask you. And I had a little backstory about it. About a year ago, I went to my eye doctor, and eye pressure in my one eye was up. And it was around 30 or so. So he says I should get that taken care of. So he had me do a procedure called the G6 laser. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
Anyway, I had that done, and it didn't really work, I guess. And my vision kind of like was blurry for 6 months of, and it didn't go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I had all kinds of tests like a brain scan and a artery, forget what they call it, ultrasound for my artery.
Right.
And they didn't find anything wrong with anything. The vision just didn't come back. It wasn't bad, and it was just blurry.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, my pupil was fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering so after that, about, I don't know, 2 months after I had all that done in October, my pressure suddenly went up to around 50.
50, right.
So they had me get ready to do a something called an Ahmed stent.
Right.
And anyway, after a while, my vision started getting worse, and I had to, being over 60, they wanted me to have a bunch of tests, like an EKG, to see if I could handle anesthesia, and they found something wrong with an irregular heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of delayed everything. So the next time they did it, the pressure was still high, so they finally did it. But I lost a lot of vision in that one eye, and the pressure came down, but the vision didn't come back. And I was wondering, would that come back?
Well, let me ask this, George, during that period where your pressure was elevated, were they putting you on any type of topical drops to lower the pressure?
I was on lots of drops, and
okay. All right.
They didn't seem to be doing anything.
Right. So, I mean, without seeing it's hard to tell, George. I mean, if your pressure had gone up to 50 and 60, then quite probably you had some compromisation to your optic nerve and it was damaged. And so the visual fields that you run on you would determine how much optic nerve damage. The key here is to preserve what vision you have. They have to get that pressure down, and obviously it sounds like they've been trying everything. So you have to get that pressure down. Ideally, I mean, some doctors want it below 10, but down in the low teens at least. So they need to try to get that pressure down and keep that pressure down as low as they can. Will that vision come back? I mean, that's a good question. If it's related to optic nerve damage, then probably not. If it's related to something else, like a cataract or retinal inflammation, then yes, some of that vision could indeed come back. But if it's optic nerve damage from glaucoma, then at this time in your life, chances are it's going to, the main thing is we want to remain stability. We don't want you losing more vision, okay?
Yeah. The other thing was when I had that G6 surgery and it blurred my vision from before. Because before I had it, I had like 20, 30 vision or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And after that, I couldn't, even glasses didn't seem to make the vision come, clear anymore. And that's why they did all the tests. And I was wondering, is it possible that G6 surgery did something to the eye or something?
Well, any type of surgery has potential complications, absolutely. But with that type of surgery, I mean, most studies show that, you can get a 33% pressure reduction with that procedure, and even higher. If you have multiple sessions, you can even get a much lower pressure. I mean, some people get 70, 75%, pressure lowering. So they, with the Cyclo G6, I think it's, what is it, a micropulse laser.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had good results with it. So
well, after that first surgery and the vision didn't come back after 2 months, they kind of scrapped the G6 for some reason, and then it went
to the tube,
directly to having the Ahmed valve put in.
Right. And then have you ever had a trabeculectomy done?
No, they said that the valve would probably be better.
Right. Good. All right. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like these guys are doing everything they can. So, hang in there.
All right. Well, thank you for the talk.
All right. You take care. George, keep me posted. Let's go back to the phones. Jan in Ocala, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Lange. This is your friend Jan, and I have a question. I stopped in your wonderful Fortify store on 17th Street yesterday. I take your once a day vitamin, and I take your fish oil and your blue light defense.
Right.
My primary doctor scolded me and said, Jan, you're 60, you need calcium. So I popped in to see what kind of calcium you offer, and you've got both carbonate and citrate. The carbonate comes formulated with vitamin D3 in it, but the citrate does not. I chose the citrate because it's more absorbable.
Right.
And I have absorption problems. So do I need to get a separate D3?
Do you get much sunshine?
No.
Can you get some sunshine?
Yes, but I don't want to.
All right. Well, I mean, Jan, a half hour of sun a day between 12 and 2 with no sunscreen and minimal clothing is going to give you a lot of vitamin D. Do not take a shower for 6 hours after with any soap because it takes a while for those oils to absorb. But vitamin D3 from the sun is a very good source. Certainly, you can take vitamin D3, based on your weight. I mean, you can take, easily 2,000, units of vitamin D3, and they don't call it units. Now it's in micrograms. I don't even know what the level should be on that. And, I don't really recommend. How much do you weigh about?
180.
Yeah, I mean, 2,000 units of vitamin D3 is probably enough. Combined with a little sunshine. It doesn't have to be every day, but maybe 3 times a week, get a half hour of sun, and you'll probably be okay. I mean, there's some other things out there. I mean, there's another product that we have at the Nutrition Center there made by Douglas Laboratories called OsteoGuard Plus Ipraflavone. And you may want to consider that after you finish this bottle. It has lower amounts of calcium, something called hydroxyapatite, that combines vitamin D3, magnesium, phosphorus, boron, ipraflavone, and vitamin K, and all that helps it absorb. You're not on Coumadin, are you?
I am not.
Good. Then so eat some spinach, all right? Gently sauteed or boiled or juiced spinach or kale daily. That will help. Combined with sunshine, will help the calcium absorb.
Okay, well, down in Florida, I should be able to do sunshine.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Lange.
All right, Jan, take care. And don't get sunburned, all right? People shouldn't be afraid of the sun. Half hour sun a day is actually pretty good. I was just thinking about this during the show. A guy that's really an expert, and one day we'll have him as a guest on the show, is Dr. John Podlatsky. And he actually got more initials after his name than anybody I know. He's a doctor of just about everything. And he is upstairs at the Lange Institute. But he deals with a lot of my patients that have leaky gut and then have food sensitivities. And so any of you out there that really want to see an expert that's not going to put you on any medication, John Podlatsky, Dr. John Podlatsky at the Lange Institute upstairs is amazing. I highly recommend him. Also, while we're talking about upstairs, also Michael Moore in that same suite is Hear More Medical Centers. He will help you if you have some hearing problems, guarantees the lowest price on hearing aids. So the Lange Institute, we're located right there in the heart of the Villages. It's golf cart central. We're golf cart accessible. We're right there on 466 and County Road 101 in the middle of the state of Florida. So just a hop, skip, and a jump from wherever you are. Lange Institute, we're open 5 days a week. We do everything from cataract surgery, retinal surgery, to routine eye care, nutritional eye care, contact lenses, from pediatric all the way to geriatric. We've got a great team there. Dr. Seaborn Hunt, great cataract surgeon. Dr. Michael Tolentino, amazing retina specialist. Yadi Exposito, great optometric physician. So we got a great team at the Lange Institute. The phone number for the Lange Institute is 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. Now remember, this is Heart Health Awareness Month. If you're doing anything, get on a good triglyceride form omega-3 fish oil backed by an omega index study, or take our Fortify Super Omega 2 times a day. With that, the music's on. That means I'm out of time. I'm out of here. Have a great day. God bless you. See you in 2 weeks.
The new home of the Bubba the Love Sponge Show. We welcome all the Bubba Army to WWBA Largo, Tampa Bay.
And W252DF, 98.3 FM Largo.
Welcome to Safe Money and Income with your host, Harry Jameson. Harry is a safe money specialist, primarily serving the Tampa, Florida area, but he's sought after nationally for his expertise in helping people secure their retirements. Mr. Jameson is a licensed life insurance professional in the state of Florida, and he specializes in working with people who are near retirement or those who have already retired with wealth management, income planning, and asset protection strategies. And now, here to talk with you about safe money and retirement, your host, Harry Jameson.
Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Harry Jameson, host of Safe Money and Income Radio. I specialize in asset and retirement protection, and I'm president of Jameson Financial Solutions Incorporated, a no market risk retirement planning company serving the Tampa Bay area. Let me ask you a question. Would you take your retirement money to Las Vegas and invest it in a game of chance? In a February 24th, 2009 Bloomberg article, House Education and Labor Committee Chairman George Miller said, 401k retirement plans do not provide sufficient retirement security for many Americans. He also said, and I quote, for too many Americans, 401k plans have become little more than a high-stakes crapshoot. If you have a 401k, 403b, TSA, TSP, or any other retirement account that is no longer controlled by your employer, then we need to talk. Even if you are still working at age 59 and a half, we may be able to help you protect the retirement money at your current workplace. If you have an IRA that you are concerned about losing to the high-stakes game of market losses and volatility, then I have something for you. My free book, Safe Money and Income, and Safe Money and Income Kit gives you all the information you need to take advantage of these offers. Please call 844-450-SAFE. And I will be more than happy to provide you our 115-page book that shows you how to divorce your broker and put your retirement money on autopilot. Once again, my number is 844-450-SAFE. The multi-billion-dollar A-rated companies I work with guarantee first-year returns up to 10% or more. You can also get up to 7% compounded annual growth guaranteed from lifetime income accounts. You've worked hard your whole life to build up this money, taking advantage of employer matching accounts, and now it's time to make sure you don't lose it.